When you talk about dealing drugs, people like to romanticize it, and everyone's Pablo Escobar and no one ever gets ripped off, and it's just money and girls and jewelry. But when you really talk to people that really went through it, and me and Ali Sadiq, he just talked about how he constantly got robbed, thrown in trash cans, punched in the face, so forth. What do you think was the worst situation you went through when you were selling?
The worst situation that I probably went through, we've been shot at a few times. That's not the worst situation. Gunshots on the corner, different things happening. I've seen people, some of these same people, some of these smokers and different, we've seen them die, different stuff like that. But I think for me personally, the worst for me was I was talking about the other day, catching a case for a very small case that was worth $40 worth of crack, actually, that led to me having to be on a run for 10 years, a long time in my life. That started with a very small thing. So that's probably the worst that happened to me. A very small amount of cocaine, crack, whatever it is, led to me losing almost 10 years of my career based on that one case.
So during the whole time that you were selling, you never got ripped off, nothing really violent? I mean, you got shot at. Did you ever get hit?
I never got hit. That's the thing about it. Like, that was a normal thing. So that's not nothing that was shocking. People getting robbed, ripped off. We done been jumped out, fights. And that was normal. That's what I'm saying. The type of neighborhood that I'm from, that's not a shocking thing. Us getting into some fights, getting jumped on, somebody getting shot. I've had a kid get killed, and the people I was mixed up between the names. The one person that killed him had the same name. The person that was there had my nickname. So I've been in all type of situations. That's not nothing for me to be saying because it was normal, man. We've seen people go to jail. We've seen people get robbed. We've done things. We've packed pistols. We've been shot at. So that was just along with what was happening. The more shocking things to me were things that were more detrimental to my life in the long term.
Okay, so by 93, you're 17 at the time. That's when the screw tape era really started. Now, was it around 94 when you guys hooked up?
I probably got a little bit of 93. I did get some 93, at about 17, because I was going to Screw House from school. I was getting picked up from my homeboy Sticky, picking me up from Worthing, and I'm going during the school era. So I did get that 17, but I told, I was talking about it, previously, and my first couple of times of going to Screw House, I wasn't intrigued into who he was yet. This was about me trying to become more popular in my neighborhood. The first time I went was a couple of times with guys in my neighborhood that had a tape. I just wanted to go make a tape and become much popular in my neighborhood because the tapes were rolling out. I had no idea really what Screw was or who he was going to be or what that was even lead to. That was around 16 or 17.
Right, because didn't you guys have the same barber?
Yeah, that's who I'm talking about. My guy, the barber he's not just a barber, he's from my neighborhood. He's one of us. You know what I'm saying? He just happened to be the barber in the neighborhood. And he was cutting Screw's hair. So, he went over, they made a tape, and that particular tape was becoming the tape in our neighborhood because we were young kids. Like I say, I'm gonna keep saying it over and over, lots and lots of boys. I'm not talking about 5 or 10, I'm talking about 15, 20, 25, 5 over here, 10. We had a big neighborhood full of boys. So the tapes were floating all through, and the talk and the popularity of the tape of Steve was the big thing for me, not Screw at first.
Well, and I guess the people that were hanging out at Screw's house, they weren't really rappers and artists or whatever else. They're just local guys that were like, okay, sure, I'll do a little something. And then before you know it, things started to grow.
Well, the tape aspect wasn't about rapping on it at first. It was about just making it and putting songs on it. You could just put your favorite songs on it, what artists you like. So the Screw tape started off like that.
Oh.
The rap era part came in as we began the freestyle era, where we used to make those tapes, and then on the second side B, we would say, we want to rap on this, turn on the freestyles. That's how that started. And I was there from the beginning of that. So the first actual people that's hanging the Screw, some of those are not rappers. Some of those are mostly his friends and people he, live with around his apartments or people who he hung out with. Those were the people that were making tapes. They weren't necessarily artists. Now, some of those people decided to become artists as this thing began to grow.
Okay, so you yourself, at what point did you actually start rapping?
I was already, I'm a music connoisseur, period. Even when at 13 or 14, I was the guy at school rapping the Run DMC, remembering it word for word, Peter Piper, Pick Peppers, all that. I was already into it. I was already writing Computer Love down and writing songs down. I already been kind of musically inclined before I got to Screwhouse. But what happened was I had raps and things in my head that I wanted to do at 13 or 14 and 15 as I started engaging in music. But when we got to Screwhouse and we started making the tapes, it became about the freestyle, which is a little different from the rest of the world freestyle, Texas freestyle. We don't write it, it's off the top of the head. So the freestyle era took over in such a dramatic fashion to people wasn't even relaying if we ever had any interest in music early. The freestyle thing was so big to people even thought that us even pursuing music that we would try to do a freestyle. That's how good we had got at it.